Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this Public Safety Committee, Justice Affairs Committee meeting, Tuesday, November 19, 2024, here in the C.L. and Conley Council Chambers, 4th floor of the County Administration Building. Roll call, please.
And just as a reminder to all who are in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Ms. Conwell. Mr. Byrne.
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. There is a quorum. Also like the record to reflect that Councilman Miller is in attendance.
Welcome, Mr. Miller, and Ms. Simon notified me she's on her way. Roll call, please. Oh, did we do roll call? I'm sorry. My mind is wandering. I think, Janine, you and I both need a rest. We both need a rest. Public comment.
No one is signed in, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. In your package, we have the minutes of the October 29th meeting. If they're in order, I'll accept the motion and a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Against? Thank you. 2024-0377.
Resolution number 2024-0377, authorizing purchase order number 24004-101 with Integrated Precision Systems in the amount not to exceed $511,755.35 for a state contract purchase and installation of intrusion alarm system, access control panels, video surveillance cameras, and various network accessories at 1801 Superior Avenue in Cleveland.
Good morning, David DeGrandis from the Department of IT. I apologize, 2 weeks ago we were supposed to be here, but there was some confusion between Public Works and IT on what department or what committee was going to be hearing this. So this is for the security over at the Board of Elections building that we're going to be leasing at 1801 Superior, that comprises security cameras, access control, intercoms, and an intrusion system. It's an extension of our current access control, our current enterprise class security systems that are being purchased under state term schedule.
Questions?
Maybe some. Through the chair to Mr.
DeGrandis.
Was this included in the pricing and cost analysis that was presented to the county?
I believe it was.
And so when this contract here is going to be actually for installation?
This is for the purchase of the equipment and the installation at the head end. So the county trades will be running all the cabling and doing the rough-ins and hanging the equipment, and then IPS will be in charge of programming the cameras themselves, the card readers, and the servers that are part of this project.
Okay, so we'll, at some point in time, we'll be doing security at both buildings? At the old BOE?
At the old BOE, they have their own video surveillance system and their own intrusion system. We do have county access control there. It'll be run simultaneously until, in terms of the access that we maintain in IT, it'll be simultaneous until that building's sold.
Okay, so we're going to stick.
That's correct.
And what would be the cost differential, us paying both at some point in time?
It's part of the maintenance contract. I'd have to go back and see. We have, in addition to this purchase, we have a county maintenance contract that's managed by the Sheriff's Department that manages all of our equipment. So I can get that figure if you'd like.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Who's monitoring this system after it's in?
The camera, we have a number of things. There's different types of monitoring. In terms of somebody actually sitting and watching the cameras, our cameras are usually considered evidentiary. They're for after the fact. But at the main counter and where security is going to be stationed within the building, they'll have access to the video. In terms of monitoring the health of the system and whether the cameras and other equipment are functioning, IPS, the vendor, has a NOC and a network operations center that manages the health of the system.
Are there any other costs that you can see coming up that are outside the lease?
The only other, this, just for, to be clear, is for the Board of Elections. So this covers the parking garage, the first floor and the second floor. When Health and Human Services enters the building, and that design for where, who's going to go where, there'll be some work that we have to do, but it's significantly less than what the requirements are for the Board of Elections, because they have Secretary of State requirements where we have to have bipartisan card readers on certain doors and cameras that cover certain areas that are called out for both by statute and by the Secretary of State's office. So there will be an addition for when we occupy more of the building later on next year or the year after.
And I voted against this, so all the costs that aren't upfront are.
Right.
are-
It'd be cheaper also if we bought square buildings with square offices.
Right, right.
So.
Or built
we'd
our,
let- we'd-
or built our own for.
Yes.
Maybe less, but anyhow, we are where we are. Anything further?
Oh, well,
I
I
don't
want to
see a
ask.
date on this.
Yeah, through the chair, I do want to ask on that, on your last point. So where would those costs be covered from when we add in HHS?
Matt Ruby from Do It and Public Works will be able to answer that.
Good afternoon, Council. Matt Ruby, Departments of Public Works and IT. So the costs, these costs and ongoing costs are distributed.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, can you make sure you're speaking into the mic?
Apologies. The costs for the build-out for this building are split between the general fund and HHS funds, depending on who benefits from what cost. So as David said, this piece right here, the majority of it is BOE, so most of it will be covered by the general fund. When HHS starts to come on board, when that timetable, you'll see a lot more things going to HHS dollars. You may all recall, I believe it was last week's fiscal agenda, there was an appropriation on there, a little over $2 million specifically for this project. Some of the initial costs, this purchase for IPS is being paid for out of that appropriation.
And the work, it's not anticipated that this work will be finished this year, but we'll, if council approves this at the next council meeting, we'll be able to have all of the equipment purchased this year and on site and in hand in fiscal 2024. And the completion, as soon as the equipment, as soon as a PO is issued, IPS is prepared to be on site to start getting this operational. We intend to be fully functional by the deadline of, I'm telling them, January 31st.
All right, so there's no emergency to move this.
It would be helpful to have the PO moved this year so that if we don't, we're going to be continuing to push it into next year. So it would be helpful to have a PO issued by the next council meeting so that we could be able to have the equipment purchased in this fiscal year.
Well, what's the emergency?
That we have to be operational by February 10th, and the longer it takes to get the cable, because we're buying the cable from them as well, and that's what the trades have to run the cable in the building. We can't begin to install cameras until the cable is run. So anything that, any delay, any further delays would put us beyond that February 10th move-in date.
Okay, unless there's an objection to moving this under suspension, we'll grant that.
I'd appreciate that.
I just,
Be okay with that?
I just wanted to clarify through the chair that when you say equipment, that's going to cover the later, when HHS moves in?
No, council member. This will cover the equipment that's identified in the quote that was provided for this purchase. So this is the equipment, all the cameras, card readers, all this, the servers for this portion of the build-out.
So
We haven't even looked at, we haven't even done our assessment of what HHS will need because they haven't identified, I haven't received those final plans yet of who's moving where to then identify those needs for that department.
And what's your rough estimate that will cost?
Significantly less than this. I would estimate it'll be less than probably $100,000 for their build-out. And just so, and what I've worked with Matt, so while most of this is BOE equipment, there's a lot of shared equipment in here that covers the perimeter of the building, that covers the parking garages that are shared. and covers common areas that are shared between anybody who's in that building, BOE and HHS.
All right, if everybody's comfortable, under 2024-0377 to the full council under second reading suspension, I'll accept the motion in a second.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you.
Thank you.
2024-0417.
Resolution number 2024-0417, authorizing an amendment to contract number 4945 with Belfair Jewish Children's Bureau for co-occurring integrated treatment program services.
Good afternoon, Sharon Allen, Juvenile Court. This is a contract amendment for integrated co-occurring treatment with Belfair Jewish Children's Bureau. This ICT is an integrated approach embedded in an intensive home-based therapy delivery model. The model requires youth and family participation. The program addresses substance abuse, mental health disorders, or co-occurring disorders. This amendment is to extend the time period of the contract to June 30th, 2026, increase the funds in the amount of $501,430, and replace the insurance requirements. This is 100% funded by the Reclaim Grant.
Questions?
Where did she say the funds were coming from?
The Reclaim Grant.
Questions? And looking at the timeline, obviously, we want to move this forward.
Yes, please.
If everybody's comfortable, Resolution 2024-0417 to the full council under second reading suspension, I'll accept a motion in a second.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
2024-0418.
And also let the record reflect that Councilwoman Simon is in attendance. Excuse me. Resolution number 2024-0418, authorizing a master contract with various providers in the total amount not to exceed $2,200,000 for residential treatment services.
Hello, this is Marie Andel from Juvenile Court. This is our traditional residential treatment centers master contract with various vendors in the amount of $2,200,000 for January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2025. The contract shall provide trauma-informed traditional residential treatment to address identified needs related to cognitive, emotional, and behavioral challenges across any of the following: family, education, peer relations, substance abuse, pro-social skills, mental health, and antisocial defiant attitudes. The core residential program consists of a full continuum of residential services, 7 days a week for 24 hours a day at the assigned site. Additional services may be provided at school, weekend activities, family interactions, and any other project-related activities.
Questions?
Just through the chair, to Maria, when are these just for children in our care, or specifically who are these treatment services for?
I'd like to have Director Thomas Pipkin come up.
Thomas Pipkin. Yes, these services are for youth that are in the care of Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court.
And only for those, are they in-home stays or group home stays or a mixture of both?
Well, these are no in-home stays. These are all out of the community. These have been youth that have been deemed they can't be maintained in the community, so they've been placed at one of these residential facilities, typically a 6 to 9 month stay. The facility is based off whatever particular needs are identified for that particular youth.
And how often are they given treatment out of a month?
While in the facilities, youth receive treatment on a daily basis.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The treatment centers, how many do we have? 7? Do they specialize in different aspects of the youth?
They sure do. So some of the facilities are more so focused on mental health, some are substance abuse, some can do a combination of both. We have one vendor such as Abraxas that also provides services for sex offender treatment. And some of these programs are gender specific, whereas some will accept boys and girls, but some only accept boys or one accepts girls.
Are there enough beds to accommodate all the youth that need the service?
No.
Right. Yeah, that's what I suspect. And these are local, right? All these are most
No,
local,
all of those
but
aren't local. It's a couple, I think two are
Summit?
local, but some are in Summit County, some are in, we have one in PA, so.
Still,
Yeah.
okay. And there's still not enough availability. And what how much, I think at some point, if you can come back and inform the committee about is it that there's not enough supply of available places, or we don't have the funding to get more?
Well, it could potentially be a combination of the two. I know right now when we submit our RFP, over the years, we've had fewer and fewer facilities actually respond to the RFP. So the options for us to consider are, dwindling a little bit. But I do think there are, these facilities are, these are businesses. They may not want to take our population of youth and may be more so inclined to take a lower risk, lower level population of youth that's being removed from the community. A lot of those youth we probably wouldn't deem removable from the community. We would try to work with them in the community. So I think that also plays a part where, they'd rather take youth that are lower risk, and for whatever case, there may be stigma behind a Cuyahoga County youth over maybe a youth from another jurisdiction.
It's not the funding necessarily.
Not necessarily. I
Right.
mean, we base our funding off of kind of what we've forecasted out from years prior. So if we did have a larger amount of facilities to utilize, we would probably place more kids. So our request for funding may increase. But as of right now, it's just the capacity that we have.
Yeah, so when we started, and Councilman Gallagher and Conwell will remember, Dale's here, but this is the Glen Mills area, and we had a lot more facilities at the time, and when I'm looking today, we have 7, and it's not a lot, even in those facilities, so it's a problem.
Yeah, it makes it difficult.
Okay.
No, we no longer have a contract with
They're
Glen
gone.
Mills.
It was just the
Yeah.
category where we used to have Glen Mills. Yep.
Is this one in PA? Is it the one outside Pittsburgh? Or?
No, it's right over. I guess you can't say it is kind of outside of Pittsburgh. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's a necessity because of availability here in Ohio,
That's correct.
Northeast Ohio.
That's correct.
Anything further? If, and you want to move this forward,
Yes, please.
the first. If everybody's comfortable, we can move Resolution 2024-0418 to the full council under second reading suspension. I'll accept a motion and a second.
Second. I'll make a motion.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor? Against? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
2024-0419.
Resolution number 2024-0419. Authorizing an amendment to agreement number 3951 with Chagrin Valley Dispatch Council for dispatch operation services for law enforcement activities.
Good afternoon, Chris Costin, Sheriff's Department. Before you is a request to amend our current contract that we have with Chagrin Valley Dispatch Council. This amendment will extend the term to 2026 and add $1,964,675.92. This contract provides the Sheriff's Department with reliable dispatch operations for law enforcement activities. We would like to request a second reading suspension as this contract will start 1/1/2025. I have Captain Devlin here to answer any questions.
Questions? Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and what communities are covered by this dispatch center?
Good afternoon, sir. So this contract is covering just the dispatching for the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department.
Okay. But am I not correct that Chagrin Valley Dispatch also provides services for a number of communities?
Yes, sir, you are correct. They dispatch for 32 agencies, including the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department.
But this contract is only for our part of it?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
If everyone's comfortable, we'll move Resolution 2024-0419 to the full council under second reading suspension. If all is in favor of that, I'll accept the motion in a second.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
2024-0420.
Resolution number 2024-0420, making an award on requisition number 14451 to Summit Food Service in the amount not to exceed $18 million for jail food services.
Chris Costin, Sheriff's Department. As the clerk just read, this is a new contract with Summit Food Services for correctional inmate food. This contract was processed through an RFP. We had 3 proposals that were submitted and scored, with Summit Food Services being awarded the contract. We'd also like to request second reading suspension of rules, as we want this to start on 1/1/2025.
Okay, I see the sheriff's here. Who ran the program?
Good afternoon, Council. Special Assistant to the Sheriff, Jim Carbone. I'm here today to recommend a food service vendor for the Cuyahoga County Corrections Center. Just like Chris stated, there was an RFP that was drafted. It was reviewed and posted. 3 companies submitted proposals: Edwin's, Summit, and Trinity. All 3 companies conducted a presentation and tasting that was at the Justice Center. A comparative analysis of the proposals submitted by the 3 companies was completed by a designated panel to determine the degree to which the proposals satisfied the criteria outlined in the RFP. The outline from the RFP is as follows: proposed solution for the project, scope of work, project management, performance evaluation, accountability, and outcomes, anticipated work schedule, vendor qualifications, staff qualifications, and budget. Based on the criteria in the RFP, Summit was provided an intent to award letter. The panel collectively determined that Summit's proposal best satisfied the requirements outlined in the RFP. Of note, Summit provided a more comprehensive and inclusive proposal. Summit was able to demonstrate extensive experience in correction-specific food service programs, including a correctional facility similar in size or larger than our facility. One example is in 2012, Summit entered into a food service contract with Cook County Department of Corrections in Chicago, which is one of the largest in the country. Cook County currently has an average daily inmate population of 5,500. Previously, that population averaged 8,000 to 10,000, and at its peak in 2013 was 11,248. Summit offered different tiered meals that fit within the budget established by our RFP. Summit provides additional oversight with their operational support managers, OSMs. The panel felt this was critical in the event of staffing shortages or other operational complications. The OSMs are able to quickly assign staff to the correction center to assure our residents are still delivered a timely and quality meal. The panel believed that Summit strongly demonstrated the ability to provide a well-established leadership operational team. Summit provides direct access to their entire regional leadership team to address any needs that may arise. The leadership team consists of a president, VP of operations, VP of growth, Director of Operations, Senior Business Director, Business Development Director, District Manager, and a dietitian. During the tasting, Summit provided a very professional presentation with a substantial amount of their leadership team present. Summit prepared a meal using the same quality ingredients and recipe to the panel that would be served to our residents. Additionally, Summit provided a tasting of a staff meal that could be an option implemented in the future as part of a staff dining plan to which was identified in our RFP. Further, Summit provided physical meals that are on their contingency menu plan. These meals could be implemented in an emergency situation. The Sheriff's Department is taking extra steps to ensure our residents in the Cuyahoga County Corrections Center are provided a quality meal and the contract terms are being met. One major safeguard is a contract monitor. The contract monitor will be responsible for oversight of daily staffing and timely meal deliveries, ensure all meals are being served at a safe, required temperature, compliance with all kitchen and food preparation, safety and sanitation protocols, standards, and guidelines, compliance with the Ohio Administrative Code as it relates to the food service program. Lastly, there was a united process where staffing, leadership, experience, and quality were of the utmost importance to provide our residents in the Cuyahoga County Corrections Center with quality meals served in a timely manner and prepared in an environment that is safe and sanitary. At this time, I can answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Carbone? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to verify the legislation in front of us. It has two different figures. It has the 18 million in the heading, and then in the summary, it talks about 15.5, the same dates. What is the actual cost?
The actual agreement is going to be about $18 million. So that $18 million figure is correct.
Okay, so in that first whereas clause, why does it say 15.5? Does that need to be changed?
We can amend it. Do we need to amend it, or?
Yeah, because it has
see
18,
it.
then it's got 15, and then it's got 18 again at the bottom.
It's a clerical error. Okay, yes. The clerk said she could just correct the clerical error.
Okay, so it's just a clerical, you'll fix that? Okay, and then my other conversation with Mr. Carbone through the chair was, I know we've had problems with this food contract, and we're looking forward to our new partnership with Summit, but I was also I was thinking to keep down the complaints of the food or whatever. I asked them, did they offer employee meals? So
Yes, that was one of the things I pointed out. They did present in their presentation at the Justice Center employee options, dining options, and we were excited about that with some of the restraints our corrections officers have or anybody going into our facility. This will actually be another option for them. And it was a good option. It tasted pretty good.
okay, so when you say option, how do we make sure that option is being utilized or?
Yeah, that's something that Summit's here, that they can talk further on, and how we're going to expand that with our, if this is approved by council, how we can expand those conversations on that.
And that would be an additional cost to the 18?
That would be at an additional cost. I'd have them answer it, but I'm assuming to the employer.
Okay, thank you.
So let's, we'll get through this, but once they're up and running, we can incorporate any costs that would be different from what we're approving on a go-forward basis, because I would imagine that would be per meal.
Per meal, yes.
Yeah, so.
And I know that would be appreciated.
And we can take care of that with an amendment to this. Ms. Simon.
Oh, just, did anybody do a reference check from Cook County?
I don't know if it was with Cook County. We know that Cook County had, reading up on that, had a lot of challenges. And one of the challenges was with their food vendor, and put them in a federal bind. And the partnership and the professionalism of Summit was able to get them out of that. So they've been there since 2012.
Where did you get that information? From Summit or from Cook or from reading things?
We did some research.
You did research?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And the cost differential between the previous provider of food and this contract, how does that compare?
So right now, we're paying about $420,000 a month, roughly just over $5 million with the current vendor. There is a CPI that was involved in this RFP, so we're looking at about $6 million a year.
Mr. Kelly, then Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How many hot meals a day is in this program?
I'm Steve Morrow. I'm with Summit Food Service. I'm the Senior Director of Growth in this case. Thank you for having me.
So the question was, how many hot meals are there per day?
3 per day, sir.
3 hot meals?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And my second question is, who is the monitor employed by that you talked about?
Can you repeat that, please?
So there was a monitor that was going to keep an eye on the meals and everything else going along with it. Who is that monitor employed by?
That's going to be employed by the Sheriff's Department.
Okay, thank you.
So how long has Summit been in business?
Summit has been in business for over 30 years.
So how long ago was it when the county last bid the food service contract?
That would be 5 years ago here, I believe, sir.
And did Summit bid at that time?
No, sir, they did not.
And so who all bid the last time? Do we know?
Well, we had Trinity, we had a group out of Louisiana, and we had Aramark backed out. Aramark backed out.
5 years ago?
Excuse me, Donna Cleel, Sheriff's Business Services Manager. The 3 bids last time were Aramark, Summit did bid, and Trinity.
So,
Thank you.
So 5 years ago, given all the problems that we've had with Trinity, on what basis did we decide 5 years ago that Trinity was better than Summit?
Actually, Donna, I think I can help out. Wasn't that the one where we had granted them the contract, questions arose, we reconsidered it, we rebid it.
Correct. Twice.
Twice. As council president, who was it, Dan Brady, and I had concerns. We rebid it, and was Summit still in there? Did they drop out in Aramark?
No, we rebid it, and we had the same 3 bidders the second go-round. And at that point in time, I know Rhonda Gibson was on the panel scoring, and she had worked previously with Trinity. So she was basically saying that she felt Trinity would be the best one at that time. And so so with all the scoring, when all the scoring was done, Trinity was awarded, and you guys were, I'm sorry, council was concerned because there was some bad reviews for Trinity, and you had read that, and that's when you made us do a second RFP. Yeah.
Trying times. Anything further? I'd like to thank the sheriff and his team for putting this together. I know it wasn't easy. I know it's important as we move forward, especially when we move forward into a new facility. Next up will be the medical, which again is very important, not just to our inmates and visitors there, but also to this council and I'm certain the administration. So thank you for your diligence and thanks for delivering a new vendor to us. We're hopeful that this works out, and especially again in the new building, I think things are going to be a lot brighter, a lot better, and hopefully the service and everything else holds up to the scrutiny that you've already given it. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman.
Ma'am.
Can I ask one question? In terms of, I know we're moving toward a new facility. Is this contract based on that Summit will do the meals solely, or will people that stay inside the jail assist?
I think what we're going to do is we're going to look at providing a timely, hot meal, and whatever it takes to do that, we're going to have to do that. But I think the expectation is definitely a certain staffing level by Summit.
Thank you.
And we'll have some background to go on when the new facility's up and running, because this is a 3-year deal. And it's probably going to be 3 to 5 years to get into the jail, hopefully 3. So we'll have some background as to how the performance is.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
May I ask another question
Yes.
or two? The first question is whether any other jails around the country that are of comparable size to ours provide their food service in-house, or is the use of outside contractors a uniform practice?
I think as we transition into a new facility in 3 to 5 years, that's something that we're going to definitely explore. We're going to explore as time goes on with our contract with Summit. If you guys okay the contract with Summit, the performance, and we're going to have to look at every option. So we could provide the best meals in a timely fashion to the residents in the county jail.
So, do you know of other facilities of comparable size to ours that are providing their own food service rather than contracting out?
I do not know at this point, no. I know at one point we did our own here in the county jail, county corrections facility. But I don't know what that time frame was and how long ago that was.
Could you do a quick scan of other facilities and let me know what you find?
We can do that, yes.
Okay.
Does Mr. Merrill know?
When you talk about comparable size, I think Franklin County is the next largest one in comparison to Cuyahoga here. That is not contracted out.
And that is what?
Is not contracted
Not
out.
contracted, yes.
Hamilton County is in Cincinnati. You guys are the 3 big ones here.
So, the other question I had was that I was not clear on the response to Ms. Conwell's question as to whether Summit is going to entirely provide the food service, or is it going to be a mix where the county or the inmates provide some of the staffing?
I think a large majority of the staffing is going to be provided by Summit. If there's occasions, I know they have layers of having appropriate staffing within our facility. If there's ever a case where, the priority one is getting that meal out in a timely fashion to our residents. And if there's ever a time where we have to resort to some of our staffing inside, then we would have to do that. I'm hoping that is not going to happen. And that's why I think the contract monitor overseeing this, boots on the ground, seeing what's happening there daily with other staffing, correctional staffing there, is really going to be able to be more efficient and be able to reduce the times that hopefully they'll have to use our staffing within the facility.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything further? If everybody's comfortable, we can move Resolution 2024-0420 to the full council under second reading suspension. I'll accept a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor? Against? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
2024-0421.
Resolution number 2024-0421, authorizing a contract with AT&T Enterprises in the amount not to exceed $1,020,000 for a state contract purchase for site-to-site fiber network services in connection with the 911 vendor-hosted project.
Good afternoon, Council. Brandy Carney, Director of Public Safety and Justice for the county, requesting a 5-year renewal agreement with AT&T. This is not for any increased cost. I think it was 2 weeks ago, I was in front of you for the new 911 system that we have, for an extension on that system. This is actually the network for the system. So this is the contract with AT&T for a network. As I said, no increased cost from the last time that we had provided this service. AT&T provides the site-to-site network that serves all of our dispatch centers, utilizing the 911 system within the county, which that's 23 independent PSAPs, which is a dispatch center, as well as 2 host controllers that we have that back each other up. 97% of this project is funded through the State Wireless 911 Fund, and that's monthly funding that we receive coming from the state that originates with tax on cell phones. And these are ASC circuits, which are how we connect the PSAPs at remote sites to the host controllers that we have. They provide a secure connection and the needed bandwidth for the operation for 911 calls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions? And I don't see a date on here. So what do you want to do?
I think we're okay because this one, the other one, we can go through the process on this one. It's
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
If everything's in order, I'll
Thank you.
accept a motion for Resolution 2024-0421 to the full council under second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion? All in favor? Against?
Aye.
Thanks all.
Thank you all. Any miscellaneous?
Yes. Oh, I just want to say thank you to Brandy and that she organized the fire command vehicle to come down here. And hopefully a couple of you were able to tour it. Did you? Anybody?
Dr. Kelly and I went over. I saw
Oh,
Mr.
cool.
Miller on his
I did
way.
as well.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. That was ARPA dollars and it's really doing a service to all communities. So thank you.
Fire people are very happy. Okay.